So it's time to focus on Eminem. I've got to get my composure a little bit. Jackal Goldkick's going to help out with this. Baron's going to help out. And apparently he has some sprites. So one for him, one for me. I think we'll just kind of take care of this. And I'm going to get to talking about Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly. So I'm looking forward to that, you know. It's like the main thing here. Grab my Sprite. We'll kind of get this squared away and we'll dissect the beef and just see what's up with that. I've really got something to share on this, so we're going to have some fun with that. It's definitely head butting. It's not as much of a clean sweep as you may think it is.
The thing is, as a song, you'd probably like listening to Rap Devil more, but as a diss track, Killshot's definitely better. Killshot just has, like Eminem on Killshot was able to deliver a lot better disses at MGK. Because I did like Rap Devil, but some of the disses on there towards Eminem were kind of stupid. But as a song, it is more fun to listen to than Killshot. Killshot's just more of a diss track, you know, which Eminem could have made a diss track like Killshot and still made an entertaining song, but he decided to go with just a diss kind of thing and not really focusing on song quality. I used to like Rap Devil more than Killshot, but I'd say Eminem won that beef mainly because what he was saying in his diss was a lot more lethal than what MGK was saying. But I do like Rap Devil as a song more, not diss wise, but as a song you would listen to. If I had to choose between the two, you'd probably be playing Rap Devil more than Killshot in the car. Which that's one of my issues with Eminem nowadays. I feel like he focuses too much on lyricism, and not so much on music, which Eminem should focus on both, because you can't just put dope lyrics together and expect a song to be good. You gotta have other aspects good as well.
Alright, so I wanted to start trying some newer stuff on the Acid Roots channel. Started incorporating more ideas like I've been doing the past few months, since about March, April or so. There's going to be more ideas like that. This Jackal Goldkick collab is going to be one of those. I just have more ideas flowing off. It's not just going to be reviews all the time, but so this one, just talking about the beef of last year that came out, which was the Rap Devil and Killshot songs that came between Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem. Now, obviously, Eminem ended it with Killshot, but I felt like maybe that's a little bit too brief a conversation to just say Eminem just did it like that. There's a lot more to it, and I don't know how many discussions about this are just playing on YouTube. I mean, you may find like the Killshot song review, and you may find like a couple reviews, something like that, of Rap Devil, but just an overall just talking back and forth about the way that this beef actually translated. I mean, it just doesn't happen enough, and I kind of wanted to start, showing some of that off on YouTube. Because really, I mean, this song is just like a spare Eminem song when you look at it. It's also just like Hit 'Em Up, like when that song came out, it was seen as one of Tupac's best songs just because his fury towards the notorious B.I.G. and just seeing what he was going to do. I mean, that didn't happen with this sort of go around, but both songs are, great songs that, had fury. And I do feel like had Rap Devil come out against another rapper, that might have been like a finishing song to have taken out a different stage of rapper, which is kind of the thing. So to talk about like Rap Devil first, the thing about it, it came off the EP Binge, which is actually pretty decent. I think that's better than some of the stuff that we've heard. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly, even if you don't like him, even if you don't know that many songs by him, he has started to up his discography and it's starting to improve. Like, Lace Up, General Admission, maybe some of those didn't have as much hits off of them, but I do feel like Binge did have the hits. Rap Devil got like 80 something million listens on Spotify. Lately is a pretty good song. So, I mean, for an EP, it probably had a handful. It's something I would say, it could be better than some of Eminem's worst albums, which, just to gauge between the two, that's what's going on. Just to say off the bat, I know Machine Gun Kelly around this time still doesn't compare to Eminem back in 2002 and 2003, but it at least is more relevant, and that's the thing. It's probably why it would get more listens. So, I mean, to say that, it means that Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show are starting to show their age, but some of these, this is kind of, that's the thing is, so with Rap Devil, I looked up the lyrics to the song. I've listened to it dozens of times, but the thing about it is most of the time the complaints or the disses that MGK has is saying, the reason why Eminem was mad, his career is not quite as good as it used to be, and there was another one. Yeah, just he's too old to still be trying to do this sort of thing. So to talk about some of those things, I agree with Machine Gun Kelly that Eminem, it does seem as if his edge is kind of sharpened. It just seems like he's more mortal lately, and that's kind of how it is. I mean, if you would have asked if Machine Gun Kelly would have been 25, 30 back in 2002, probably there would have been no chance that that would have the beef would have even happened. Eminem Show era Eminem. And that, the fact that he was able to do it now, I mean, it seems like Eminem took care of it, but it was not leagues ahead of it like it probably should have been. I think that's kind of the thing, is to say, the gap between the two of them may not be as large as you think. And that's kind of the situation there. Machine Gun Kelly talked like his albums aren't as good. Recovery was above average, but it just depends upon your angle. It just introduced like pop and songs like I Love the Way You Lie and the song with Pink and songs like those. The song with Kobe, I don't remember, like Talking to Myself or something like that. But those kind of directions, I mean, that's the way that radio has been recently. It typically has some sort of complaint or subversive thing to talk about, and just doing that over the radio just for the general listener. But I mean, Machine Gun Kelly has at least tried to do that in a different vein. I mean, he did have bad things, which I think is worse than some of those, but I feel like the stuff he was trying to do on Hotel Diablo was a better take on some of those radio songs. So I'm getting too sidetracked. I need to talk about, just talking about Recovery. I mean, he basically did the same thing with the Marshall Mathers LP2. Shady 15 was okay. And then there was, you get the idea. I mean, most people generally think that Eminem, his albums in the 2010s may not have been as good as the ones from the 2000s. And that's kind of the thing. You think of distinct Eminem songs: Drug Ballad, Kill You, Stan, Superman, 8 Mile, Lose Yourself. I mean, all of these are blockbuster songs. I mean, some of the other ones, like Business, White America, uh, like Toy Soldiers. I mean, a lot of those, I mean, MGK just does not have the same amount, but I still feel like he's making better music in some cases than Eminem is currently. So that point that he touched upon is somewhat relevant. The other thing about him being 46 is it just depends upon how you look at character. I mean, Eminem probably has more wisdom. He's probably more centered. He has the ability to kind of see things, but I mean, it just depends whether or not you feel like when he said, like, oh, Eminem selfies suck. I mean, I know that that's obviously not the point, but just to say whether or not he's kind of like, you know, just out of his element. That's kind of the situation. To say 2015 Eminem, 2018 Eminem, he's out of his element and he just doesn't know how to adapt. He may be getting left behind. Machine Gun Kelly doesn't have that problem. obviously they're about 15, 17 years difference, but it's still kind of, I mean, it's surprising. I think the main culprit behind me saying that is just the Revival album, is because it kind of left him out of his element, and we didn't, the whole thing about that is trying to figure out some of the songs that are just good off of that, and why it seemed like he was so surprised. And I mean, his lyrics were at least there, but it just did not have the same spike or value, especially as something like Relapse or Recovery did, and even further some of his earlier albums. But I don't know. I suppose to make this conversation completely coherent, I would have to listen to the MMLP too. But I don't know. It doesn't come off as that enjoyable. There's just not enough production on there that I enjoyed. But so to talk about that, but then to compare Kill Shot. So the points that Machine Gun Kelly made were at least relevant to what he said. It was like, okay, you know, he he's he's showing his age. He's not as good as he used to be, and his beef with. I guess we could talk about the beef that he had. So to talk about that, um, the thing it had something to do with, like, I remember Machine Gun Kelly made a tweet talking about Haley, and he didn't like that, but he also did some other things. Eminem got mad. He didn't want him on Shade 45, which is his radio station, and apparently they were starting to try to blackball him. It just depends. I mean, that's more behind the scenes stuff, but I don't, I can't say I encourage blackballing and that sort of thing. It's kind of seen as a power tactic, but really, if the people that you're blackballing have talent, it's kind of, I don't know. So that's just something, I don't know all the details there. But to talk about Kill Shot, thing about that is it probably is the better song. I don't like the beat as much as I like the one on Rap Devil, but I do. I mean, it's a relevant Eminem song, which is what the kind of stuff that I like the idea of him doing. I mean, sometimes I think Eminem kind of comes off as like he kind of feigns that he doesn't know what to do in this sort of environment, but he actually can. But uh, that's the thing, is it's a good song, but yeah, it's not like, it's like Jackal Goldkick said, it's just not as performable. And he said he wouldn't perform it because he doesn't want to give MGK more shine. So that's kind of a situation there. To be fair, it's not like there's many people that he could get in a beef with that he would actually need to perform that song, perform a diss song to do. But so me talking about Kill Shot more, the disses on there are just more scathing. I mean, he goes at him. He says things like, let me just look up the lyrics. Yeah, so most of what Eminem was talking about here is just the fact that, I mean, really, it does feel as if you could say that maybe Machine Gun Kelly doesn't have the wherewithal to actually go at Eminem just yet, just because, I mean, Eminem has gone diamond twice, with 2 albums. Curtain Call's 7 times platinum. Recovery's like 3 or 4 times platinum. So he sold, tens, dozens of millions of albums, had dozens of hits. He's filled out a greatest hits album. His tours sell out. He's a very coveted guest feature and that sort of stuff. And, of course, the lyrics. So that's the thing, obviously putting a man like that on this sort of song, it comes off as you'd think that it would do it. But it was like I said before, is it still feels like the gap is not as large as it probably should. And I think that's the thing. When you hear this song, it's like, yeah, I mean, most people would say, yeah, Eminem should have demolished Machine Gun Kelly, but the thing about the song is the lyrics are on point. I mean, he does, he has the syllables on the song. I don't know. I mean, it still feels like Eminem has released better songs, and that's the thing. I mean, it's probably one of the better songs he's dropped since 2013. When you look at some of the best defining Eminem songs that have come out since 2012 or so, or 2011, I mean, what would you say? Like Lighters, or the first single off of Bad Meets Evil, and like me trying to think of like the Monster, some of those songs, Berserk. I mean, even Rap God in some cases. I mean, they just don't seem to hold the same weight. But I mean, it does feel like Killshot has come back somewhat. So maybe I'm just being opinionated, but I don't know. I mean, it just is hard to describe the reason why some of these songs just don't hold quite as strong. I mean, there's just something about it. It's never the lyrics. I mean, that's the one thing I can say is it's never the lyrics, and this song is the better song between Killshot and Rap Devil, but there's just a more energy about it to where it just feels more relevant. I mean, it's kind of um, that's the thing. It's Machine Gun Kelly just feels more refreshing, but you know, with Jackal Gold Kick, he said that it seemed like Eminem was making more of headphone music more so than car music and outgoing music. And this places you'd play at a party or somewhere on the road or just in a some sort of festivity that goes on. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, Eminem doesn't typically do that. I mean, when I think of a song like White Trash Party, that's the kind of stuff I would like to see more often. But uh, I mean, it comes off where it's like, yeah, he won the battle, but it's not as smiley, like I'm grinning ear to ear of a victory as it should be. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, at least with the Rap Devil song, you got the idea, like, yeah, this is a good trace of what's gone on, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly's weakness is the fact that he just cannot seem to drop classic albums. Whether or not this is because he has too many pop hooks on there, his lyrics aren't up to par. The way I mean, that's kind of the situation. Lace Up doesn't compare to Slim Shady LP, but I think it compares to like Revival and Bad Meets Evil and uh, Shady Fifth. Did I say Shady 15? Revival, Shady 15, Bad Meets Evil. So it's like, that's why I say when the gap is just not that large. So, yeah, I mean, it just seems when so many people will say, I mean, I'm actually thinking about this. When so many people will say Eminem is just not quite as good as he was 10, 15 years ago, well, why is that? I mean, that's the whole thing. What could be the possible reason? I mean, this is stuff that the reviewers have to notice, like myself and Jackal Goldkick. We have to know, well, why exactly is it that Eminem just can't seem to do it? And to me, I don't know. It just the songs I can't expect him to just be produced by Dr. Dre for the rest of the time, but I feel like even if he was at this point, I mean, Compton, I don't have the same taste for that album either. So it just seems like the way that production has been shaped, it just doesn't feel like it's in the same song format. And this is just a larger issue that just requires a lot more research than like what I've given it apparently, just because for me to say that even though Eminem won, it still feels like it doesn't feel like a wholesome victory. Like to say, if you grade Eminem on like the song, I mean, he won the beef, but it wasn't like a 10 out of 10. If Machine Gun Kelly was like a 3 out of 10 and Eminem's like a 7, it's kind of like, okay, what's up with that? I mean, that's just what we're trying to figure out. This is not a typical attitude from someone who has been shown to have done things of that caliber so often. So to talk about the reason why I feel like the Kill Shot song is a vital song, it's not vital for Eminem as much as it is in terms of the beef as much as it is just in terms of like maybe he's just not inspired, something like that. I don't really know. He just has hit like a streak in like a blank period in his head, but just to kind of go back on some of those albums that came out post recovery, talking about the singles off of Bad Meets Evil. I mean, really, Fastlane. It does, and that's the thing is, it just to me the singles that Eminem has put out across this past decade have just not been up to snuff. When you look at it, Fastlane, while the lyrics on that are sharp, both from Royce the 5'9" and him, it's not the best production on there, and I think that's really, it comes off as wanting to be horrorcore, but I mean that's about the only one that I can vibe with that much. There wasn't that much promotion for Bad Meets Evil. The Lighter song is really a worse version of like something he did with Rihanna or someone like that. I mean, I think that that's really like a real sugarcane type song, and this is way too sweet. And I think that was kind of the thing about songs back then. Bruno Mars was really kind of doing songs like that. So I mean that it, I know that that was probably what was used to sell the album, but it, it it just was really, that was meant, that songs like that obviously meant that Eminem was going pop. I mean, if he would have had another song like that, I mean, that was kind of what you were getting from. So that was not even something that Flo Rida would have done, but it was just strange. Royce the 5'9" being on a song like that is kind of weird. But then Marshall Mathers LP2. So I mean that had 5 singles off of it, but I only wound up liking like 2 or 3. So I didn't like Berserk and I didn't like Headlights. That's 2 singles. I mean, if you see what I'm talking about here, how I mean normally Eminem, every single one of his singles would have been good. When you look at Guilty Conscience and My Name Is, Role Model, uh, what's it called? The Real Slim Shady, Way I Am, Stan, uh, Purple Pills, and Eminem Show, or not, Without Me, Cleaning Out My Closet, Superman, Sing for the Moment. I mean, all of these were just, he nailed the singles every single time. And the fact that Eminem had some spare songs in there like Lighters, Berserk, Headlights, Walk on Water, um, even the song that he did with Kalani, Nowhere Fast, was not that good. And, just some of those songs off Revival. Me trying to think of other ones. I mean, it just kind of comes off. It just feels like the songwriting and song selection for Eminem is just not quite as good, and I just cannot. That's really the true heart. That's really the true heart of what I can't seem to figure out at this point is why can we not get like those songs without someone like Ed Sheeran or Bruno Mars or Beyonce or someone like that? Why can we just not get a hit from Eminem? Because I'll tell you, my local radio is not playing Rap God. Never heard it. And I think really you'd have to have XM radio, but just in terms of like day to day, you're going to hear like Dangerously in Love, or you're going to hear Hot in Here by Nelly, or you're going to hear um, like um, you're gonna hear Waterfalls by I think TLC or just something like that. Hypnotized by Biggie. These are the type of rap songs that you're gonna hear. I mean, Eminem is just not coming up in suburban Missouri, and I don't know about from Jackal Goldkick's case, but I just haven't heard it. I mean, I barely heard Revival. It just seems like the reception nowadays is just not there. And I know Eminem's kind of caught between like a crux of, okay, do I go with pop and get the radio and get the backlash from my true fans, or do I go with the true fans and get the hardcore stuff and not get the radio spin? So this is kind of, I mean, that's kind of the situation. Is Eminem is just not quite capital to me at this point with figuring out songs that are good, but can also be played on the radio and are give him an exalted discography like it did 10 years ago. And that's the problem. I feel like Kill Shot is one of those songs that did that, but it didn't do it by a landslide. And that's just the thing. When I look at some of the singles, I feel like Fast Lane is a song I may eventually grow to like more, but there were quite a few songs. I just don't feel like there should have been that many songs out of Eminem's past 3 albums that should have had that same kind of problem. Lighters, Walk on Water, Nowhere Fast, Headlights, Berserk. I mean, there's just too many songs within those that, I mean, he was trying to try new things, but it just came off as not good. And that's just the thing about it. I mean, he just didn't slip back in those days, but trying some of these new tactics or just trying to do a more evolved form of recovery just kind of made it bad. And I just think that's like the main thing. So it's like both of these artists took hits within this. I just feel like it's simpler with Machine Gun Kelly because he's not as stubborn and he'll at least do things that happen to be better. You know, that's the thing. I really enjoy the Hollywood Horror song. I think the song he did with Travis Barker, I mean, he's given things that have been wanted. He's not, I mean, his song selection is still, you know, he can make hit songs. With Eminem, it's kind of like you'll get the lyrics definitely, but you don't know if you're going to like the song entirely. And that's just kind of the problem. I mean, especially the singles. I know I'll like the lyrics, but I'm just not so sure, you know, hearing, okay, this is the first song, this is the song you're going to hear on the radio from Eminem. Well, I have to have my fingers crossed nowadays. I have to say, okay, I want new Eminem, but I also want it to be good Eminem, and that's the problem. Is I'm tired of having to do that. I want it to be an Eminem song that's like, damn, that's as good as White America was, and damn, that's as good as you know, uh, like the way I am is, you know, just songs like that. It doesn't have to be Stan, but just those type songs, and that's just kind of where it goes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, the efforts from Jackal, Goldkick, Baron, and myself. There's gonna be more stuff like this.